Welcome, everybody, to the Crypt Files, your once-weekly follow-up to the hit Into the End Actual Play D&D podcast.
Yeah.
This was so good, man.
I don't like how Melora at the end was like, hopefully.
Well, I mean, she's a god.
She kind of seems pretty indifferent, but I guess that's kind of how gods roll.
That is a
Yeah.
real godly
It's very
kind
Greek
of
god.
thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
like
Yeah,
being
yeah, yeah.
disappointed by
Very,
meeting
very
them.
Hades, the
Don't
game.
be silly, you children.
Yeah, I really liked that. That was great. I was trying to think about Ben's reaction because Ben was for so long in his second life like so dedicated to Melora, and really like meeting his mom, at the tree and everything. Like that kind of undid a lot of it, but I think I was holding out hope that there would be something like like a spark here or something like that. And I think Ben walked away from this like meeting or this episode rather with like even less of a spark for Melora than there was.
Yeah,
after
she's
meeting
so
his mom.
indifferent
I
to
think-
our struggles.
As she was talking, the more Valen was just kind of very clearly showing his flail on his arm.
God,
Like, wow, I was right.
all
You
along.
are not very cool.
She's all like, she's like, yeah, the other gods have taken much from you. I'm like, yeah, they have.
Yeah, I honestly really loved the indifference.
Yeah,
and
it was
just
great.
like the curiosity. Like I feel like the curiosity is very much like in line with what I imagine a god would be like.
Yeah.
They'd be like,
And it's
this is just like my experiment that I kind of look at.
It's an
It's
interesting,
kind of
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
an interesting interpretation of free will, like indifference to everything. It like could be perceived as,
Extreme
she's
free will.
really into free will.
Look, I'm so
no,
free
she just
that I
doesn't
don't give a
care
shit.
about
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and we have decided to make it a tenet that she is so into free will, and she just don't give.
When we were coming out here, one of the things you mentioned was like the dress cues. You saw there was some kind of light, and like there's definitely something going on at the dress cue compound.
For sure.
And like in
Something
the back,
going on everywhere. Yeah, in town. Yeah.
but like specifically thinking about like the dress cue compound, like in my mind, Ace was just like in such a like torn headspace. Is like I didn't even really know what I wanted him to do because it was like, fuck, man,
Yeah.
that's my family there. Like
Yeah.
I gotta be there. But at the end of it, it was like obviously I'm gonna stick with my friends, like
Yeah.
the people that I've been with like this past few months,
Yeah.
well, like since my childhood, and see this thing through and be the heroes that Ace believes we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough trying to, like, I quickly realized that talking to Melora, I was like, I don't think we're gonna get what we want out of it. It was like that moment where you go, oh, well, we'll talk to the boss,
Yeah.
and we'll finally explain our side. But it was just very like, oh wow, that's a bummer. What are you gonna do about it? And you're like, no, you don't get it. I'm tattling.
Yeah.
Tattling.
Yeah.
Now you punish them.
Yeah.
And it was like, whatever. And it was just very like, okay.
What do you guys think about her actually meeting the Storm Herald or meeting Alistair?
I'm excited for that.
I think Alistair's gonna murder her.
I think
I think we're gonna witness the death of a god. Honestly.
Like Alistair has
cool.
been planning this for a while. The
But then we
Storm
suck
Herald
up
has
her
been
power.
planning this through Alistair for a while. And like
If he does.
I really don't want her to meet the Storm Herald because I'm worried what he has planned.
Well,
Oh,
what if he
no.
zaps her and just like how we ganked Alistair and then his like soul ascended and like when like he comes out, zaps her, and then we suck up her power.
Sure.
I don't think it's gonna go down like that. I think it's gonna be more like,
Who are you, little boy?
not even that.
She's
I
gonna be
think
like, oh, you were right. Yeah, he's.
I
kinda
think
mean.
he'll try and do something because it definitely seems like he wants to get at Melora.
Yeah.
And maybe it's to absorb her power. Maybe it's to, I don't know, confirm what he feels like is right.
Or maybe
Or
he'll.
what he's been told, and he feels like maybe if I can actually finally talk to Melora, I'll be reassured of these things I've convinced myself and this other god has convinced me of.
Interesting.
Or-
yeah.
What if-
Maybe when she's like, well, I didn't really appoint you to anything, it'll just be like this huge like, oh man.
Yeah,
Well,
I did all this for
See,
nothing at the end of the
Right.
day.
Yeah.
one
Yeah,
of my
I love that idea of the like I accomplished all of these things in your name and then nothing.
Yeah.
And then to meet
I don't care.
and then to be like, I didn't really care about that. And it was like, what?
Like he invested all of his self into it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite
Like
fantasy.
the like just deflation of that.
One of my favorite fantasy novels is called The Wizard's First Rule, and I love it because it's like, there's all this magic and there's all this stuff, but the wizard's first rule, the first rule of being a wizard is that people are stupid and that they're going to believe whatever they want to believe. And usually it's because they really want it to be true or they're afraid that it's true. And so, if whoever dominates the wizard's first rule is usually going to be like always the most powerful wizard. And I could see him, totally just buying into whatever narrative he already has cooked up. And
Sure.
And whatever she says is just going to validate his actions, even further.
So like take it the opposite way.
Right, yeah. I mean, he's, it's going to be that she's a liar or that, like, this is a trick that we're playing or that, like, or, oh, he told me you would say that, or something like that.
Oh, yeah. No matter what, he has to be right.
Right, yeah.
Even in the face of, like, the actual person saying the true thing.
Yeah.
What happens if he says that she is an imposter, like a false god, and she's all of her actions are pretty underwhelming in terms of god status.
Yeah,
she's not going to try to prove herself to the crowd, and so if we're putting them on trial, so to speak, he looks far more powerful by our standards than she does at this point. Like, that could hurt our cause and embolden him. You know what I mean?
At the end of the day, Ace is going to kill the bad guy. That's
but
just a
either
fact.
way, it seems
It was
like,
Simon.
It seems like no matter what happens, Melora's going to be like, okay, bye now. And then
I'll be back in a couple hundred.
We'll just have to resolve this ourselves anyways.
Yeah.
And that's going to be what happens.
Yeah.
So no matter what he says to her or what she says to him, she's going to be like, all right, well, I'm tired of this. Anyways, bye. Going to my garden. And then we'll be like, okay.
Oh, hi. I guess it kind of like hinges on what is going to be the Storm Herald or Alistair's reaction to her indifference.
I think the big thing I wanted to have go on with this scene was that deflation of like Alistair's motivations, like you're pulling the rug out from under Alistair, and that like you immediately know she has not been talking to him, but also she has not been talking to anybody associated, anyone that says that they listen to, like all of those different interpretations of this religion,
all the librarians
do not have that direct connection.
Right.
Like that magic of hers, that divine presence that she holds dominion over, does have power. And like Val and Ben as paladins are, they have some of that within them, but like she said, she is not the gatekeeper. She just wanted this scene was like she's kind of a normal person, but at a different scale.
Yeah. It's I think Ben knew the truth the whole time, that all of the other believers were kind of like fraudulent in their own way, but that's because Ben for a little bit was kind of his own type of zealot.
Right.
I really also really enjoy playing up the Ace and the Sigmund Freud kind of like kill your father, like marry your mother kind of thing. He's always got mothers, and like
he's got an Oedipus.
And he really wants to tell him about like trying to kill his dad.
Yeah,
she's just so interested in the stories of the world. Like she does love what's going on.
This has really caused Val to double down on his like disinterest in Melora.
I was just going to ask, what's everyone's kind of perception now, character perception of her?
His whole thing was like, Melora doesn't really care, kind of abandoned me, whatever. And then to literally hear her be like, yeah, well, that sucks. It's like, you son of a bitch. I was right. I can't believe it.
What about you, Simon?
I feel like Simon is reserving judgment, but right now he's kind of disappointed,
underwhelmed.
Yeah, like he's always been kind of a bright-spirited boy and kind of optimistically following her, and trying to portray her to other people, but this has been kind of so far a letdown, and I think he's assuming that something big is going to happen. Like, okay, she's just playing it cool right now, but that kind of a thing.
She's playing up nonchalance.
Yeah, but something in the back of the head is like,
no, she's going to do something big.
This is not what I have been taught. This is not, pretty disappointing overall.
How close are we to the end?
I think really pretty dang close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shit. I kind of don't want it to end.
It really depends on what you do.
There's
sure.
Let's blow up the
There's
doorway.
choices to make, obviously.
Let's blow up the doorway that Melora came out of, so she can't go back in.
We definitely skipped over a bunch of like check marks or road other little narratives in the city.
Yeah.
Well, that was the thing.
Directly to the bottom of the tower.
You kind of put those out there with the rescue things on fire.
Lots of stuff's going on.
You said that there was. You said that I
city.
sensed light over my own neighborhood or my old neighborhood, and
then whatever's going on.
I had my thoughts
gateway.
about what that could be, but
I definitely was in the headspace of Ace is going to go to the source.
Yeah.
And that's exactly
as soon as he said there is a light underneath the tower, it's that's where Ace is going.
But yeah, I think probably next session we'll have to have it at the bay. We'll probably have everything kind of just go down at the bay. Because this has all been about Quilton Bay.
I do pray and hope that we can have some kind of conclusion to what happens in the city.
Well, see, I was just about to ask him. I was like, just metagame it. We're not going back to the city. Tell us what's happening. We're not going to go out to the gay house.
We're
going to fight Alistair.
Broad strokes.
Yeah, let's hear it.
We'll find out.
We'll do an exit kind of ending thing.
Yeah, there'll be an epilogue.
For sure.
All right.
Yeah, there's got to be.
Is this leading up to its own, this is the type of event that led up to our quiet year, Yeah. We're going to lose, and then they're going to have their own quiet year.
This is...
that's kind of what it's going to end up being,
honestly, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
This is the legend that will be told to the next gang of Quilton boys, in the next era.
Maybe next time there could be some girls.
200 years from now, the next calming.
Maybe.
We're not that progressive.
You all play women characters, and it's all about your father issues.
We're still 5 dudes in a basement with beer.
I think you could call them daddy issues.
Yeah.
It's okay.
We won't get in trouble for that.
My papa problems.
Yeah.
Wee.
Me dad.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna be French.
We'll start off next time. You'll have an overview of what's going on in the city. You'll be able to see it.
Okay.
And then the bay.
And
Simon, your mother has died.
No.
All right.
I can just totally see Ace's mom.
You have to go and see it.
She's doing some kind of preparations with a bunch of guards.
She's still unconscious. Val punched her
I
that
punched her
hard.
really fucking hard.
She's got a TBI now.
She's gonna be in a coma for 2 or 3 months. Anyway,
she's
guys,
the Herschel Walker of Quilton.
This has been the Crypt Files. Your follow-up. We're going to be back. We're getting real close to the conclusion of the Calming, our long-running campaign that we hope that you've been enjoying. Until then, grab your sword and keep on adventuring.